Welding can pay your bills, but if you treat it right, welding can also build some wealth for you, family. Today, I wanted to take a brief moment to talk to you about some financial literacy in welding to shift your mindset. Maybe you're just now finishing your welding program and you're about to dive into your career or whatever, or start your business. There's a couple things you need to think about because we can't reinvent the wheel. And welding is the seed. It's the seed, fam. In order to grow something to be bigger than what it started out, you have to plant the seed, fam. And welding is the seed. The skill is the seed. And once you plant the seed, fam, all of those things that you're trying to get, the business, the brand, the house, the cars, the trips, all come from the seed that you planted, the skill. Now, I use welding because that's what I have engulfed to help levelize my life, I would say, and put me in a better position because welding was a skill that I was introduced to. Now, we know that there's many different trades that you can dive into, and you can literally levelize every one of them, fam, every one of them. But today we're gonna focus on welding because you're probably just getting out of school. I actually just finished the class. This is our last week. So the class graduated after 6 weeks. It was great. And this first phase was the TIG welding phase. And we did an introduction also to the MIG welding, and we let them touch a little flux outside without gas. So this process was all about them getting the skill set, fam, because we can't reinvent the wheel. If you don't have a skill, fam, you can't pay your bills. We know that you can get a regular job and jobs, you're gonna get fired. And we also know when COVID hit, they said that you was what they call it, a essential worker. Most people who are essential workers have a skill. They are needed. We need you to come. If nobody else come, we need, if you can make it here, please come, we need you. You know what I mean? And you can become a need like that, but you have to learn more than just the basics. Let me say that, because we know that welding pays on the low end, depends on where you at in the country, you might just make minimum wage at doing it. When I started welding, I was just making $8 an hour, so I wasn't breaking the bank at all, you know what I mean? But I had to get the skill set, and then I started making more money. Now, depends on where you at in the country. If I would have been somewhere else, I would have been making a lot of more money, but due to where I was at in Arkansas, I started off at $8 an hour, fam, 2006, $8 an hour. And I had just got out of prison, but I was happy though, because I had an opportunity to do what? Build my skill set, fam. And that's the next thing I want to talk about, is because the skill is that seed, fam. You got to plant the seed. So if you come to class and you wasted 6 weeks or 16 weeks or 3 weeks or 9 months or whatever your course is, you're not going to have the proper seed. Then it's going to take all type of stuff you have to do to get a produce from that seed, fam, because you was missing things. That's why it's so good when you come to class to have a clean slate, learn everything. Don't try to speed up the process. If you're working it on flat and someone else is already on uphill, why are you trying to work on uphill and you ain't even got flat down right? You have to get the skill set, fam. So today I just wanted to talk to you about shifting your mindset, because that's where it starts. It all starts in the mind, fam. It all starts in the mind. Just like when you inside of the booth. If you have a lot going on in your mind, you're dealing with family, you're dealing with wife or girlfriend or kids, or you're dealing with bills or things you can't control. When you in that booth, it's going to tell on you, fam. You got to focus just on the process alone. You can't focus on anything else if you expect to grow. So like I say, fam, I think it's real important that we don't get sidetracked and we don't try to reinvent the wheel, fam. You know, we got to get the skills. And once you get the skill set, then you can start diversifying, fam. You can start diversifying, because most of us know when you plant a seed, you start seeing different branches and different leaves going different places. That's when you can start having your little side hustles. your ebooks, your consultations, tutoring, have some products, some blueprints. You can have some services that you provide, mobile services. There's so much you can do, but you have to plant the seed, fam. We can't get there without planting the seed. But if you use welding as the seed, it can spring off so many different things, fam. You know what I mean? It's so much content can come from it. Content that can help an individual. Even if you're not the type of person that like to talk, a lot of people like to watch. They learn from watching. So if you can get in a space and allow someone to watch you while you do your thing, I guarantee you they're gonna pick up something that you did and they're like, oh, wow, that's what I was doing wrong. I have had students watch me do things and I didn't even know I'm just doing my thing, but when you do it for so long, it's a routine, it's part of you. And they noticed, man, I seen the way you was holding your gun. That's what my problem was. And I looked, they had to be, because they picked up something that I was doing by watching me. So I always say, fam, you're gonna have to pay attention and you're gonna have to be willing to, what I say, get the skill set first so that way you can diversify, because you can't diversify unless you get the skill set properly. But once you do, fam, there's so much you can do. And the only person that limits you is you. Because you're gonna start eating, fam, you know what I mean? And as the old schools guys used to tell us all the time, all money ain't good money. That's what we heard from the hood. And it's the same way in the trades, fam. Don't eat all your money and don't chase all the money, fam, because a lot of times without reading, without studying companies, without watching what's going on, you can put yourself in a situation, a stressful situation. And we know we got bills to pay. So don't eat all your money when you're on the field, fam. Plant some in your skill set. Plant some in some tools. But you should have some tools, some welding equipment. As you work, fam, invest in you. Invest in you, fam. Because we know if a company invests in you, the company owns you. When the company give you the certs, when you pass a cert test through the company, we all know that you don't take that cert test with you. The company keeps the test. You're certified with that company. Once you go to another company, you got to take another test. Now, let me clear this up because I had a few inbox and say, so why should I get a AWS certification on my own? Well, if you're starting your own business or you're doing rig welding, those are good to have. If you're doing iron working, if you're doing some vessels, some companies will respect that AWS cert, especially when you've been doing it for a while and they'll place you on the job. But most of them still want to see, do you have the skill set? Even if they don't test you, they still gonna make you do a weld. They want to make sure you know what you're doing before you get on all their stuff and mess something up, because it has happened. So before you break the bank and think you got to go spend all this money to go get these certs, because I thought I had to have 3-4 certs too. You don't, fam, especially if you're going to a job, because the job is going to certify you. Every company you go to is going to certify you. So if you spend your personal money doing it, you're going to be sad because they're going to make you test again. And you thinking, I ain't got to test again and I already took it. Every job you go to, you got to test, fam. That's why I always tell the students, don't worry about being certified, having a piece of paper, fam. Don't worry about that. Worry about being qualified, because if you qualified, you can go anywhere in the country, anywhere in the state, anywhere in the world and weld and get some money and take care of your family. So focus on learning the skill. Get it all, fam, because if you get it all, you can utilize it that way. So I just wanted to talk to y'all about that because I think it's real important, especially for those who want more from welding. From those who've been doing it for a while and you may be feeling burnt out, or you maybe feel stuck and you want to pivot, but you don't necessarily just want to give up. You still got the passion. You don't never have to give up welding, fam. But you do have to pivot, especially when you start getting up in age and, different body parts start hurting. There's certain things you're going to have to stop doing this and maybe do something else. But I know welders who've been I met a welder that got his own rig in the 70s. The old man moving around real well, healthy, burning rods good. So it all depends on what you want to do, fam. But I will say this, welding is your retirement. You can literally set your own retirement, fam. We wait on the government, we wait on other companies to use our hard working money to invest, and if it don't go right, it don't go right, fam. But why we can't use some of our welding money to invest in ourselves, fam, invest in your education, invest in your personal growth, because that's how you're gonna turn into the richest welder. When I came up with the concept of the richest welder, I'm not just calling myself the richest welder, I'm calling anyone who has welded. Once they get that skill and they did it for a while, they're the richest welder once they start multiplying that welding skill. You diversify it and you're making more money just from just one source. When you can do that, you're the richest welder. When you can use one skill and you're eating 3, 4 different checks, 4, 5, 7 different checks off of one skill, come on, fam. That's when you're winning. And that's why I say welding can give you freedom, because you don't have to go to college and break a bank. Even though I'm in a college setting and we teaching trades here at Arkansas Baptist College. So coming down here, getting into the Meta 24 program is a win-win. And I will also ask you to check out the Meta 24. Look it up. It's on Instagram, it's on YouTube. Check it out, fam. Meta 24 was founded in Chicago by Dr. Prince, and now we have it in Little Rock. And they're bringing great opportunities, fam, great skills that can pay your bills, teaching you a trade from CDL to doing graphic designing, from doing 3D printing. They got podcasting, they got esports, they got clothing. Fam, it's a win-win now to take advantage to get you a skill that can pay your bills, fam, because that skill is your seed, fam. So in closing, I just want to say, fam, once you get the information of welding, once you have mastered the skill and you know how to do it, you know how to do it in the position, you've been making some money, you out there, you have a meal ticket, fam. All you have to do is diversify your skill set. Hold on.